Hello and welcome to my channel Balkan Aesthetics. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing why makeup is of the devil. That might come as a surprise to anybody viewing this video, but let me try to build a decent case for this in the best way that I can by the grace of God. So if you read the book of Enoch, you'll see that the Watchers that slept with human women, they taught mankind things that man was not supposed to know about, right? And one of those things that the Watchers taught humanity was beautification, or the beautifying of the face using makeup, right? Especially with the eyes, right? To make the eyes pop more, right? And that specific teaching has obviously lasted throughout the millennia, and it's evident in our modern era. The problem with makeup is that it is highly, highly deceptive, right? If you look at any video on YouTube or any other kind of source, you can see that it's literally witchcraft with how some of these women can look completely different when they put on makeup versus when they take it off. They look like a completely different person. It's as if they're wearing a mask on their face, right? And that kind of deception is quite scary for men in general, because you don't really know what she looks like until she takes her makeup off. And I'm sorry for the people that hear this, but the majority of women, if they took off their makeup, they wouldn't really look that good. I'm not saying they would look bad, but it would be a far cry for what they look like when they wear makeup. I've heard it spoken on YouTube that many women, when they walk in the street, they find it difficult to find a handsome man or an attractive man. But when they look around, they see all kinds of pretty women around. They say that there's so many beautiful women compared to beautiful men, right? But to me, that doesn't make much sense, because if you just base it off statistics, right, or numbers, it doesn't make sense for me that there are so few eligible men, right, or attractive men, and there's so many attractive, beautiful women. To me, that doesn't make any sense. You know, it should be a 1-to-1 ratio, right? I find it odd that you would have a man being attractive as a rarity and a woman being attractive as commonplace. And I think the reason why this phenomenon exists is because of makeup itself. Makeup can make or cause drastic changes to a woman's face to where she doesn't even look like the same person when she takes it off. And that kind of deception is why you hear women saying there are so many attractive women but very few attractive men. It's because most women put on a completely different face and they're not showing their real face in public. If they were to take off that makeup, you'd be shocked at just how regular looking most women are, right? And you might even be surprised to see how unhealthy most women look when they take off their makeup, because that makeup can hide a lot of, health issues that they may have. So if a woman ever tells you as a guy you're unattractive, just ask her, hey, have you ever left the house without putting on your makeup? That will inevitably make her upset. Most women will get upset if you say that, but it's the truth, right? Why don't these ladies have the confidence to go out in public and not wear makeup? Why do they have to hide their real face? Why do they buy into the societal norm that you have to wear makeup to be pretty? Why not show off your natural beauty? Well, the reason why is most women know deep down that they're just regular looking, average looking. And that's not a bad thing. That's fine, Not everybody can be super attractive or be, model tier attractive when it comes to looks. It just doesn't make sense. Even if you look in the animal kingdom, right? Some animals are more beautiful than others, more elegant than others, right? That doesn't mean one animal is necessarily better than the other animal. They all are unique, right? Their own kind of beauty is unique. It sets them apart from other animals, right? We don't, for example, admire an elephant for its beauty, right? It's not the most beautiful creature, right? We value an elephant because of its size, because of its strength, you know? Whereas if you look at the swan, we value the swan for its beauty, right? The way it looks. But that doesn't mean a swan is better than an elephant, right? They're each unique in their own ways. They bring something unique to the table, a unique expression of God's creativity, if you will. And that goes the same way with people, with men and women, you know. Not every man is going to be super good looking. Not every woman is going to be super good looking, right? There's a variation in terms of how attractive people are. But the problem with the modern society we live in is it's so heavily based on how attractive you are and the standards set by Hollywood and the modeling industry that anybody who doesn't meet those standards, they think of themselves as being deficient. And for anyone who feels that way, I'm here to let you know that time is the great equalizer. Believe me, when everybody is 60 years old, no one's going to look that good. Nobody, right? Time is the great equalizer. You may have been good looking in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, but after enough time passes, your looks will fade. That's why King Solomon said all of life is vanity, and vanity will inevitably fade with time. Your good looks that you rely on so heavily, they're going to fade given enough time for both men and women. So yeah, basically ties back to the whole makeup thing. You know, I wish that makeup wasn't even a thing, that women could just go out and be natural and look how they look and not be ashamed of the way they look. But unfortunately, the devil has convinced a lot of people, mainly women, that if they don't look gorgeous, then they're ugly, which I think is just a travesty. So yeah, all in all, makeup is from the devil. And I'd encourage most ladies to stop wearing it entirely and go out with your natural face, with how you look, and not be ashamed of how you look. And let me see if there's anything else I want to add. Another thing I wanted to add. If you want to know if a woman's truly confident, if she's a woman of God, ask her to not wear makeup. That's a good litmus test. Ask her to not wear makeup. If you can find a woman that doesn't need to wear makeup to go out and she has no problem with showing off her real face, there's a good chance she's a keeper. So, yeah, that's all I got for this video. If you want to give it a like, give it a like. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and do so. If you want to leave a comment for any other future video you'd like me to do in the future, I'd happily oblige you. And as always, God gets the glory. See you in the next video.